and Happy New Year.
Good morning.
Morning.
Definitely we're experiencing the beauties and wonders of Northeast Ohio. And we need to be grateful for those as well too, because they're going to make for a lot of beautiful flowers this spring.
Less bugs.
That too.
Yeah.
At the start of every new year, many go about setting resolutions for the upcoming year to come. Any of you set New Year's resolutions? That's typical. A lot of us want to have a fresh start to a new year. Many of these resolutions are kept for only a short period of time and are then forgotten. That's kind of the norm in our society today, but it's something that we need to take a look at. This raises the question of what we can do to make sure that our dreams for the new year manifest. And there are certain things that we can do to make sure that they will come into manifestation. The answer to what we can do to manifest our dreams is to set an intention. And that's really the key to being able to keep our resolutions. It is to set an intention. An intention is commonly defined as a strong purpose to bring about a desired result. And probably one of the problems that some in society may have when setting resolutions is they don't necessarily have that strong purpose or strong desire to bring about a certain result. By setting an intention, we tap into an energy field that will help us to achieve our goals. So this morning we're specifically going to talk about what are the elements of coming up with a strong intention, so as we move into the new year we can actually fulfill our desires and make those dreams come true in our life in 2018. There are 4 steps to setting an intention. These 4 steps are 1, discipline, 2, wisdom, 3, love, and 4, surrender. In our message, we will actually learn how discipline will help us get our body to do what it needs to do to make something occur, as well as our mind as well too, as our mind and body both work together when we are attempting to manifest something in our own life. Secondly, we will learn how gaining wisdom helps us to focus on what we want. In the 3rd step, we learn to love what we do. There's no reason to pick something that we want to accomplish if we actually don't love it. It's something that we need to feel passionate about. Finally, we surrender our body and mind to universal intent that will help us to achieve our wildest dreams. It is these 4 areas we will explore in detail as we prepare to move in to the new year. So let's take a look at the first area first, which is discipline. It is common in our world to believe that a strong will is necessary to accomplish our goals. And of course, will is one of the 12 powers that we study about in Unity on a regular basis. But sometimes it's easy to entangle what the world thinks about what will is versus what will from a spiritual perspective actually requires us to do if we are actually going to accomplish what we hope to bring about in the upcoming year. Actually, a lot of the traditional definition of will is a reliance on our ego to get what we want. A quality that is more likely to give us the discipline to get our desires met is something, again, that we might not think about too often, but is also one of the 12 powers. That is the power of imagination. Imagination actually will help us to develop the discipline that we need in order to accomplish our goals. Our imagination creates the inner picture of what we want. If we're going to create something in our life, we have to see it. We have to see the end even before it's not visible to anyone else, or if it's not visible in the physical realm. It also allows us to participate in co-creating what we want to see manifest in our lives too. In Unity, we take a lot of responsibility for what we bring into our life, and that comes through the power of co-creation. Each of us has a spark of divinity within us, so we have the ability to create. And God and universal spirit helps us to do so. What creates a powerful intention is our desire to achieve our goals. By focusing too much on our will plays into the hands of our ego. Our ego views us as separate from God, and it also views us as separate from others as well too. In reality, we know we are all one with each other. We all have the spark of the universal spirit within us. The ego views our material possessions and achievements as evidence of our worth. And our worth has nothing to do with how large our bank account is, or how many stocks we own, or how many pieces of real estate that we may own. On the other hand, our imagination is part of the spirit that exists within each and every one of us. We are more likely to pursue our dreams if we can imagine ourselves doing it. And that's part of the problem. Sometimes people will say, oh, it'd be nice if I could do this. It'd be nice if I owned a vacation home in Arizona. It'd be nice if I lost 15 pounds. But can we actually see ourselves doing it? And that is something that's important for us to be able to think of. We see God guide our way. Something beyond the capacity of our body and mind is moving us toward our goal. Within ourselves is our fulfilled intention. So the intention that we have already exists in consciousness. All we have to do is to bring that forward. When we see something in our mind, we can bring it about. And I've often said here before a service, each of you this morning saw yourself coming to this church this morning for this service. And guess what? Here you are. It's the same way with other types of intentions as well, too. Within us, then, we have this calling to actually to pursue a certain intention, to pursue a certain goal. This is what gives us the discipline to achieve our goals, to see ourselves accomplishing what we want to bring into our lives, whether it be next week or whether it be this upcoming year. The second area we're going to look at is wisdom. The second step is wisdom when it comes to setting our intentions. And the Bible has a lot to say about wisdom. There's many Bible verses that talk about wisdom. I'm going to read from Proverbs 4 and verses 6 and 7. Do not forsake her, and she will keep you. Love her, and she will guard you. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom, and whatever you get insight. So it's important for us to pursue wisdom in our own life, to pursue wisdom about the intention that we are pursuing. Just as imagination is one of the 12 powers, so is wisdom. Wisdom actually begins with our thinking, and thinking is such an important process. Our thoughts will either strengthen or weaken us, and that's something that's important for us to keep in mind. We know everything begins with the mind. Any idea we have begins with the mind. Oftentimes we may be skeptical towards a goal because we are projecting what we see inside of ourselves. So if we see ourselves as not being very capable or not thinking that we're very worthy of receiving something that we would actually like to bring about in our life, guess what? We're not going to bring it about in our life either. So what we are able to see within ourselves is going to have a lot to do with what we manifest in the future as well. If we believe we are not worthy of achieving a goal, it is not likely to be successful, and as a result, we're not going to be very successful at creating an intention. For an intention is assured of occurring if we successfully follow the building blocks of properly formulating an intention in our lives. By recognizing we are an expression of the universal spirit from which all intentions come, it will result in our raising our energy levels. And energy has a lot to do with manifesting intentions in our life. A successful intention will be created when we have developed a higher vibrational level. Each of us has a vibrational level. A number of years ago, there was a book, I believe, called Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins. And he actually measured the vibrational energy of the various words, various sacred texts, and actually even various people. And it's not surprising that people like Jesus and Buddha and St. Francis of Assisi had high vibrational energy levels. On the other hand, when you measure the vibrational levels of persons that have passed through history, such as Osama bin Laden and Adolf Hitler, those energy levels were much lower. Our vibrational energy level has a lot to do when it comes to bringing about our intentions in life. Connecting with spirit guarantees reaching a more intense level of energy that assures the manifestation of the intentions that we have set for ourselves. The higher our intentional frequencies, the more likely it'll become easy for us to bring our goals into the physical realm. So that's something that we need to think about. How can we raise our energy levels? And of course, raising your energy levels also results in raising your consciousness as well too. It is important we use our inner wisdom to become aware of our energy levels. This should also put us on the lookout for those that may dissipate our energies. Some of you may have heard of the expression that there are some people that are vampires in our life, not literally speaking, but actually sapping our energies from us. People in our life that may be negative, people that may tell us, oh, you'll never be able to accomplish that. You're just not smart enough to do that. And if we hang around people like that, guess what? Our energy level is probably not going to rise sufficiently to be able to bring about our intentions. We must be on the lookout for those that are discouraging us from pursuing what we want in our life, because they will bring our energy levels down. As we bring about the intentions that will help us achieve our dreams during the new year, let us surround ourselves with those that are supportive. And we have a supportive spiritual community here. We also have a group of chaplains one can pray with, to see the high watch and to carry the high watch for all of us here. And that will help us to increase the vibrational level so that we can achieve whatever we set our desires on for the upcoming year. We have the wisdom to raise our energy levels and to surround ourselves with those that will support us in achieving our goals. The third step to creating an intention is love. And that should not be surprising, because love is actually why we are here every Sunday morning. I don't think most of us would show a lot of our driveways or brave the cold just to hear something intellectual that has no bearing on how we can make our lives better. And this should be no surprise, because as a lot of people have said, it is love actually that makes the world go around. You could also say love is what is the glue that keeps the world together as well too. And we see this all the time. I was talking to Shannon before the service began this morning, and some of you are probably aware that Erie, Pennsylvania has like around 100 inches of snow on the ground from snowing over the last week or so. And yet there are people that have actually volunteered to drive to Erie, Pennsylvania to help out older individuals to dig out of their driveways. And one of the news reports last night showed that. And what's that motivated by? It's motivated by love. There's an intention of love behind what they are doing for others. The Bible also speaks about the importance of love, and I'm going to share with you 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verses 1 through 3. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have, and if I deliver my body to be burned, but have not love, I gain nothing. We can have tremendous talents and tremendous abilities, but if we don't have love motivating us in setting our intentions, then it's probably not going to come to fruition either. And that's something we need to pay attention. So despite the noble purpose or goals we have, they mean nothing if they're not motivated by love. How, though, then do we create intentions that are infused with love? God's intention in creating humankind was based on love. We've talked many times about actually if you're going to put a God and define him, her, or it, that definition would be love. God is love. There's actually a verse in the Bible that defines God in that way. Other parts of the Bible actually refer to God as love as well. It is the loving energy of God that is the fuel that makes the universe run. And we exist today because of that love, because God wanted to share that love, and because we are from God, we also have that responsibility as well. There are two aspects to the love that must be behind our intentions. The first is love must come from a place of cooperation, not competition. We can learn from nature that life has to cooperate with each other for the good of the planet. I know it's hard to imagine the bees going from flower to flower out there right now with the snow on the ground. But think about it. They are, in effect, a loving relationship. The bees, of course, taking honey or whatever they're taking from the flowers they enter into, and then they actually are helping to pollinate other flowers so that they grow. Think too about seeds that are dropped by birds that often may result in other flowers or even acorns that result in trees growing. The physical nature that we live in is actually cooperative. You also can find this out with animal life as well too. A lot of times there are certain insects that go onto the backs of animals that actually help to clean them. They're in that type of relationship. So why shouldn't we, those of us here on that human journey, also be able to do that? Be in a cooperative frame of mind as we set our intention. That intention that is filled with love. Secondly, love is what is behind God's will. God's will carries the vibration of love that turns the formless into the concrete. Everything begins in our mind, which is something that's not physical or something that's not visible except in our mind's eye. Of course, it is. It is this love that keeps the universe together. It is the same love that is both in us and in God. We can develop intention when we banish unloving thoughts from our thoughts, words, and actions. Instead, we must work to cultivate love in our family and circle of acquaintances. Our intentions will manifest when we spread the love. The last area and the last step for bringing about well-formed intentions is surrender. In the Bible, we are encouraged to surrender. And I'm going to read to you from Galatians chapter 2 and verse 20. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. And of course, our take is a little different than traditional Christianity, but we are allowing the Spirit of God to move within each and every one of us, because it is healthy for us to follow God's will for us. For God's will for us and our will both lead to what is actually best for us. As we surrender to God, we acknowledge that our bodies and minds are not in charge. Our intentions are driven by the same force that propels our planet around the sun and causes the sun to rise every morning. When we let go in faith and know God is in charge, we know we are in good hands. We do what we can to bring about our intention, to accomplish our goal, and then we let it go. A lot of times we recognize that our good works out in ways that are very different from what we originally thought they were. And that's why a lot of times it's good to pray this or something better, because sometimes God can envision something better for us than even we can imagine at this time. When we let go, we can confidently rest in reverence and commune with the divine. The universe creates from a place of spiritual perfection. Since God only knows perfection, there is no need to be concerned with physical, emotional, or spiritual health. Every one of us probably at one time or another has experienced some type of health challenge. But it's interesting to note, God never sees us as having sickness or disease. God sees us as perfect, because we are perfect. As the spark of God, we could be nothing but perfect. As we surrender, we can rest in the faith that our intentions will manifest. As we move into 2018, let us create powerful new intentions for the year ahead, acting with discipline, wisdom, love, and surrender will help us to manifest our success in any area of life that we so choose. God is all there is, and through our intentions, we will reap our best year yet. Happy New Year. Namaste. Let's relax by taking a deep breath. Exhaling away any concerns we may have had. Also, just relaxing to this end of the year time. If we haven't done so already, we may gently close our eyes. I behold in the light in a fresh start. The new year that is just before me is like a blank canvas. What kind of canvas will I paint in this upcoming new year? I choose the brushes of service and relationship, those that feel most natural and meaningful to me. I select colors that stir my soul as I prepare to paint a new picture of my life. What palette best reflects my spirit and the intentions I have set? Bright, vibrant tones or understated, earthy ones? I choose accordingly. I pause before this blank canvas of my life until I feel guided to create. Once nudged in a particular direction, my creativity comes alive and I begin my masterpiece. Each movement selected carefully. under the Master Creator's direction. I behold and delight in the fresh start that Spirit inspires within me. I use my imagination wisely and focus on the successes before me in the new year. I use the power of imagination to bring ideas into being and to visualize my answered prayers. When an inspired idea comes to me that I would like to create in my life, I use my mind to imagine what it would be like, how it would feel to achieve it, and the steps that I will take to bring it about. I infuse my images with color, sound, aroma, and even taste. I see myself having achieved my goal. The thoughts and the images I hold in mind are creative. They shape divine substance and energy into manifestation. I exercise my imagination wisely by focusing on my heart's desires as if steering toward a point on a compass. I use my imagination to help bring about success, healing, and the best outcomes for my life. As we contemplate the end of this year and move into the next, let us enter into the silence, knowing that our intentions will come true.